Hello everyone, this is Professor S. Graham. I hope you can still remember me from Term 1. I was your first lecturer this year for Politics 1A, and this is my exam scope. Prof. V. Graham, your lecturer for Term 2, will give you her scope separately. For my section of the exam's out of 100 marks. My section is only 50 marks. And my section is called Introduction to Political Science. And for this section of the exam, you only have to study 3 themes. Theme 4, remember that was all about the state. Theme 5, mass media and political communication. And Theme 6, political parties and party systems. In the exam, you will get some short questions to start off with out of 10. Then we'll move on to some longer questions and finally some short essay questions. The most you'll get for one of those is probably 16 marks out of 16 or 12 marks out of 12. If we actually refer back to each theme, you'll see here for Theme 4 on the state, we started off looking at what the state can do for you in your life, why it's important that you're a citizen of a state, all of these different issues. Now, remember, all of my slides are available for you under my folder on course content on Blackboard. Please make use of them, including all of the online lectures where all of this is covered. You can use my lectures over and over again when you're studying if it helps you, as well as the readings from the study guide. The primary features of the state are always important in assessment situations, so I'm strongly urging you to make sure that you can at least list all six of these as we discussed in class. So make sure you know what the primary features of the state are. The difference between the state and the government may also be an enjoyable short question for you to answer in the exam. So it would be useful if you understood the difference between the state and the government. You don't have to elaborate on it too much, just to be able to explain how the government is different from the state or vice versa. The rival theories of the state are very important, possibly for short or longer questions. So make sure you know the 4 rival theories of the state. So you have the pluralist state, and this you can also read up more in Haywood. He explains it very well in his text. The capitalist state, the Leviathan state, and the patriarchal state. So there are 4 rival theories of the state. Make sure you can answer all of those. The role of the state. There are different types of states, as you can see from this: minimal state, developmental state, social democratic state, collectivized state, totalitarian state, religious states. All of those would be important possibly for short questions, maybe long questions, but make sure you know some of the specifics in each of these and be able to speak to them, especially in a social democratic state, for example, like what are the twin features of social democracy, and you'd need to know Keynesianism or social welfare. The state in a global era is interesting for you to know as a student of politics. And now we move on to Lecture 5. You can find all 3 of these online lectures. This was quite a long series of lectures. There are 3 of them for Lecture 5. So, Lecture 5 started with mass media and political communication. Remember, you had a guest lecturer for some of this, and then the rest of it was all online. And you'll see that actually it's all online under course content for me. And you'll see that there are theories of the mass media, 4 theories of the mass media. That could come up potentially as a short essay question, so make sure you know the difference between these 4 types of mass media theory. The new media, democracy and governance. This could be interesting in an exam situation if I ask, how can the media promote democracy, and give me 2 ways in which this might happen. And you've got 4 to choose from, so as long as you know something about each of these aspects of how the media can promote democracy, then you'll be fine in the exam. There could be short questions that come out of this section as well, including some of the smaller details. So make sure you cover and listen to my lecture properly online so that you know some of the small detail like this. For example, Japan has 91% of population using the internet in 2016. That could come up as a true or false question or something like that. So specifics for this lecture are quite important. The media and propaganda, that's also quite important for short or slightly longer questions. So make sure you know something about propaganda and what that means. And very importantly, the politics of spin, especially these 6 features of what spin is, what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So really make sure you know what the art of spin is. Then we moved on to lecture 6, groups, political parties and party systems. Now, this was very important and will be very important for the exam. I mean, you'll be writing your exam just a few weeks after our national elections, so it's very, very likely you'll have a question on political parties in the exam from me. So just make sure you know what a political party is. Remember, it doesn't have to be exactly this definition, but something close to this in your own words is also suitable, so that I know you know what it is. This is very important, the functions of political parties. You would need to actually go look in the text, and it's online for you to see Professor Sadi's chapter, these 7 reasons why political parties have functions that are important for us to know, and these are them, as well as the functions of small or opposition parties. That will certainly, almost certainly feature in the exam. So please take note of that. Financing political parties might feature in the exam. It's quite an important section, important for you to know, especially with some of the changing laws that we talked about earlier this year. None of that will feature, these points will feature in the exam, nothing about particular political parties themselves, but questions could come up like, is South Africa a one-party system or a dominant party system? So you would have to know the difference between the different types of party systems. Remember, we looked at what a one-party system was, or some examples, what a two-party system was. We looked at a dominant party system. There we go. South Africa's ANC features there. And multi-party systems with coalitions. All right, so this basically is my exam scope for the exam. So I wish you the best of luck. Remember not to panic. That's the worst thing you could possibly do in an exam situation. Stay calm. Remember, you do know something, and write. Even if you don't think you know the answer at the end of the day, just write something you think might apply, and we'll see if we can at least get you half marks. Best of luck with all your exams.